You're watching The Morning Show.
Welcome back. Well, September is National Bourbon Heritage Month, and bourbon is quintessentially American in nature. And if you know a lot about your spirits, you'll know the difference between Tennessee whiskey, Scotch, and bourbon, and it has a lot to do with geography and ingredients. But let's talk about bourbon this morning with Brad Levitan. He's CEO of Puncher's Chance Bourbon and Wolf Spirit Distillery. So thank you so much for joining us, Brad.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, so let's get down to it. What's so fascinating about the difference between whiskeys is the heritage in itself. Let's talk about the history of bourbon here in the U.S. before we get to Puncher's Chance.
Well, bourbon is truly the all-American adult beverage. It is the native spirit of America. It is the only native spirit of America. Obviously fashioned in Kentucky, whiskey made out of corn, and then aged for a minimum of 4 years and new charred oak barrels. You know, bourbon has always been celebrated, but not so much as recently in the last 8 to 10 years when it's become one of the fastest growing spirits in America. In fact, in 2007, the U.S. Senate passed a resolution mandating that September would be National Bourbon Heritage Month, and it's a month where bourbon connoisseurs from around the country, around the globe, celebrate our Native American spirit.
And with bourbon, does it have to be distilled in Kentucky? Does it have to be made there?
It used to be, but not, now bourbon, it can be designated bourbon as long as 50% or more of the mash bill is corn, and it has to be aged in brand new oak barrels that are char-fired, and it has to be aged for at least 2 years minimum. Most decent bourbons are aged a minimum of 4 years.
So let's begin with Puncher's Chance, the name. Where did that come from? It's very striking.
It's a great name. We wanted a bourbon for the first time that had a personality, had a lifestyle DNA attached to it. So we took the overwhelming highest point of interest, which was fighting. The fighting spirit, fighting for what you believe in, the underdog. You know, everybody has the puncher's chance. Anyone can turn the fight around with one shot. Rocky.
So let's talk about what makes a good bourbon, and how do you like to enjoy your bourbon?
I like to enjoy my bourbon with a big ice cube in a nice heavy rocks glass, with sometimes, as we will today, a little twist of orange peel. Very complex drink.
Yeah, right? Really, really complex.
Always like to pour the bourbon over the ice cube, let it drizzle down. That's a nice hefty pour. And I looked on YouTube and figured out how to make these really cool little
beautiful
orange. So we're gonna garnish it there.
I don't know if I can.
You always smell your bourbon. You can get that nice oaky smell.
But what does the orange do to the bourbon?
All citrus will always enhance, bring out some certain flavors in any type of spirit, whether it be white spirits like vodka or gin, or brown spirits like bourbon or scotch. I just personally like the touch of orange. I like how it complements the spicy characteristics in our whiskey, and that's how I just prefer to drink it. But everybody has their own opinion.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing Puncher's Chance with us. We certainly appreciate it on this.
Thanks a lot for having me, Sarah.
Yes,
appreciate it.
National Bourbon Heritage Month.